Hi everyone, it's me, Whimsy, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the experimental aircraft, the cylindrical aircraft that were taken down, that I believe the Pentagon is calling them metallic balloons. I believe that these are the Tic Tacs that people have been seeing, and what it looks like to me, and what I've said in the past, is that there's a motherboard, it's being controlled by a computer inside the metallic object. There's a motherboard. I believe it does, like many balloons, it does contain some rubber, and that's going to protect it when it hits the water. These are experimental craft. They've been doing some maneuvering, and they serve different functions. The main function is to spy on whoever they're trying to spy on, whether it's the United States or Canada. Some of these experimental aircraft are pretty cool. They can collapse around the motherboard so that they become saucer-shaped, and then they can enter the water and then return back to the ship that is basically controlling and maneuvering the vehicle. Looks pretty spooky. And if you were to see it and not know what it is, you would think that it was an alien craft. But what it looks like is going on is that you have ships and you have submarines in various areas, whether it's the Arctic or whether it's outside of certain areas of the Bering Strait. And they are doing experiments with these aircraft. Now, there's a couple of things these metallic balloons, we'll call them metallic balloons, these cylindrical objects. One is, they had talked about a payload, that they are carrying a payload. We'd talked about in the past as a remote viewer that they carry a load. They do carry a load. Sometimes it's equipment, it's spy equipment to collect data. But the motherboard that manipulates the metallic balloon is of interest, because it's that motherboard that's receiving its instructions from people on the ship. It's usually a ship. It can be launched from a ship. That's what it looks like. But they're also doing experiments where it can be launched underwater from a submarine as an underwater vehicle, and then it reaches the water, it comes to the surface, it's inflated. Pretty cool, huh? And then it becomes airborne. So at that point, they maneuver it, they go around, they experiment by flying in certain areas, they bring it back down to the water, they collapse it. And again, because it's covered in rubber so that the electronics are protected, it collapses into a saucer, enters the water, and then is guided back to the ship, to the submarine or ship. In terms of who they think it is, some people think it's China. Some people say it can't be Russia, because wouldn't Russia have used this type of technology in Ukraine? Not necessarily if it was still in experimental phases and they didn't want the public to know about it. The thing that's of concern to people right now is the fact that the motherboard seems to also be the motherboard of the cylindrical object is able to possibly scramble the electronics of the jet that could be firing on it. And that is one aspect of these types of military drone / balloons, that has the Pentagon concerned. Do I think it's an alien? No. Do I think it looks spooky if you don't understand the science? Yes. What's interesting is that it's part of the propulsion, as I had said, is that it's moving rapidly. There's an inner chamber and an outer chamber that are rotating, and that's sucking air into the vehicle and propelling it, and that this movement is manipulated by the instructions of the person on the ship that then instructs the motherboard how to move the cylindrical object. And its function is mainly spying, but it will eventually be used to theoretically scramble the electronics of planes, which could be very dangerous, not just for military aircraft, but for civilian aircraft as well. And that is the main concern. The other concern is that they could scramble theoretically other types of electronics at other facilities, whether it's nuclear facilities, military facilities, our various different utilities. So these are some of the concerns of these types of craft. Is it China or is it Russia? Is it a joint effort? Possibly a joint effort. Possibly China, possibly Russia. I'm really interested in the science of it, which is something that I've been remote viewing for the last couple of years. It's pretty amazing technology when you think about it. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. I'm still banking on Russia. All right, thank you everyone for watching this quick remote view from my bed, and I hope you enjoyed it. Be well.